Hello. Today I wanted to talk about my experiences so far with the demon from the Ars Goetia, really the old god, Dantalion. So I haven't done any formal rituals yet, and I will. But essentially I just kind of wanted to share my thoughts and notes so far, because as I was kind of seeing on some Reddit forums, it's just practicing magic and sharing notes and ideas, and I really like that. It's not, if you get ridicule, whatever, people are either going to like you or not, just kind of, and everything's different, with each spirit. You just share your own thoughts and notes, really, as you see that they are. So that's what I'm going to do. So maybe for the last, few weeks, I've been having almost these lucid types of dreams. I usually remember my dreams, but this has a different kind of vivid quality to it. And it's almost like in some of the dreams I can pick like what I want to dream about, like you would in a lucid dream if you're truly sort of awake. And I had been working with Samagina, and I still am, because I'm building these layers in a spirit jar. So, but I really didn't have another goetic spirit in mind, just working tarot and stuff. So I just thought, that's really weird that it seems like my dreams are a little different. Because, that can definitely mean that a spirit wants to interact with you. So essentially, I was just started to pay attention to some differences where I felt like I could keep working on myself and have more confidence. That was something that I needed to do, and it was a sense of that's next. I've really done a lot of shadow work throughout recent years. And there's always more of it to do, but I'm 4 years sober from alcohol, psychedelic drugs, or other experiences are a different kind of story, but I never had and never will have an addictive attachment. So I also did, a lot of the work surrounding those underlying mental issues. So, I'm in a really strong place, but it's still I'm left with building who I am as a person, because I know what I don't want to be, which is really a great and a profound thing to understand. But next is, building who I am, which I've done a lot of, but there's always more work to do. It's never going to be, I'm done. So, I just was feeling that sense of, I'm going to be more confident and work on that. Then I started to feel really energized in a strange way. I've worked with a lot of spirits, This is different. Well, you know how you do a ritual, and I've kind of had all of these sort of things happen where you feel like after a ritual you feel like you're almost sexually energized, or you feel like your hands or the top of your head or your nose or your ears or your feet, these different like points that energy exits and enters on your body, that feels kind of numb or tingly. That's happened to me, but not so intensely, and I haven't even done a ritual yet, so I was like, oh, what is happening? So I just kept paying attention to it, and then I started to, think about some of these ideas that were coming forth through my subconscious, and I started thinking as well, like about, as I talk about all the time, psychology and the different layers of the self and different, basic needs come before spiritual needs and so forth. So I was thinking a lot about that kind of stuff, psychology in general, really reading up on some things lately as far as that. And as well, like, I'm rereading all of Carl Jung's stuff, so I can do a couple of videos on just him and his ideas, his psychology, and then like some of his paranormal experiences. So just really delving back into that. And then I also, like, the urge and the surge of energy for me lately has been really crazy. So, like, there came that point where Dantalion wanted me to know, well, that he wanted to work with me. So I got this, like, really bizarre desire to eat, like, furniture and objects that you're not supposed to eat. Now, I didn't do it, okay? I'm not going to dine on furniture, but it was a really strong sensation. And then I started to hear in the periphery of my subconscious some laughing, but to me Dantalion is male. But here's the thing, I haven't seen him, and he's given me the telepathic, because he's all about telepathy, right? Now I've learned about him. Prior to this, I didn't know much about him other than I have seen people recommend to work with him. And I know he's obviously one of the 72 goetic spirits, but I didn't know what he does. It's because I do want to have some of these spirits come to me and have that experience, and then I'm going to work with them, because I really do have a lot of abilities. This is kind of a neat way to just let this openness happen, and they'll find me the majority of the time. So he starts laughing, and I was like, oh, okay, this is definitely a spirit. And I do think the whole furniture craving that I had that lasted for 2 days was him telling me that I can have, he has an insatiable appetite. I think he really wants to work with people. It's not that like a lot of spirits are hungry to experience food, and now Dantalion, can make people fall in love, but I don't think that's his primary thing. I think his primary thing is the psyche, the psychological stuff. And obviously love and lust, sexuality, these are really powerful emotions. So as somebody who is a master of the psychological stuff, he really plays off of that energy of love, because as you can imagine, things like when love doesn't go right, there's jealousy, there's rage. I mean, people commit homicide over that kind of a feeling, that feeling particular. So of course he wants to work with that because he thinks it's this profound human experience, and it really is. I mean, obviously. So there's that. But he communicates to me through telepathy. So another thing that he was doing for me recently was like I haven't done any kinds of mind altering drugs, you know, other than like caffeine in a really good amount of time. So really there should be no reason for me to feel this way. I'm really not crazy. I could be, but that's, I guess I still live in reality and I function. So I think to me crazy would be that you don't function in reality. But like I looked at my front door, and it looked like there was all these different doors layering on, you know, it's like a rabbit hole of doors, and it was really strong, and I was like, wow, what? Like, I just thought, hey, I had a moment where I imagined something. Well, then later that day, I went into the restroom, and I looked in the mirror, and I was kind of looking in the mirror, but I'm standing straight forward. And my reflection turned without me. But it was really subtle, like kind of, you know, enough to notice, but not like where my head's over this way. It was just enough for me to notice. And I guess, you know, I mean, for many people it would freak them out, but that wasn't the feeling that I got from that. Then I heard that little voice of laughter that's, I think, to me, he's kind of like a trickster. But he was showing me that he can manipulate my perceptions. And then his other thing is that he wants to work with, he keeps pushing to me that I can, you know, you feel like you don't have time to get, because I'm in college again, but I'm doing really well and sticking with it. So he was like, you can do this, and you're going to have time for family and friends and for doing the YouTube stuff and doing these private rituals, and we're going to make it really spicy and good. And you need to start having more confidence. He was like, go in the closet and throw some of your pajamas types of clothes away. I mean, keep some, but because you're really going to be dressing in this different way, and you're going to have time for it all. You're going to have time for all of it. So I can manipulate your perception of time, so and energy, so that you can really feel like you're getting things done. And I mean, all these things that affect all of us about how we view our sense of time are there, and you know, when you do the same kind of shit every day, it feels like the days run into each other and stuff. But this was really good. And then he kept whispering to me like cinnamon in my ear, saying, when you feel like you don't have enough time for stuff, you just focus on this word. You know all about it, which is like when in psychology you focus on a word. And by focusing on a word when you get really stressed and stuff, you ground yourself, because you're focusing your mentality on a different task. So, and when you really are grounded, you have a good sense of time. Time isn't just getting away from you. So that was really interesting. I don't know if I think he obviously likes cinnamon. But in any case, this was really interesting, and I'm going to start working with Dantalion, because he came to me, approached me completely. I didn't know about him at all, And then it was really neat to know that I'm already working with all the psychological stuff, and I really recently just pulled that back out of the closet again and started going through all this stuff in my spare time. It's just an urge and a pull, and I needed to do it. And I'm really excited about working with Dantalion because he's such an energy. And I asked him, and I'll end here. I asked him, well, what do you want? Because you always want to ask a spirit, what do you want from me? Because it's a relationship. And when I asked him what he wanted, he said, he showed me that he wants my energy. He doesn't want blood, he doesn't want a spirit jar. He wants to be able to come to me and feed off my energy sometimes. Because that's what he wants, and that's the deal that I'm going to have to make with him. And now I'm going to go and make it a formal ritual. I asked my spirit guides. I asked President Marbus. I asked my frog goddess spirit, and they said he's okay. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'll share all my workings with Dantalion. So here was my impressions and my thoughts on that. So I'll see you guys in the next video, okay?